Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. And I want to pick up on some of the things Christine Graham has just been saying and earlier Claire Adamson, because testing is something that's preoccupied quite a few speakers in this afternoon's debate. But of course, testing has to stand second to the behaviours that we adopt, a long way second. If you doubt that prioritisation, just think about what we've seen happening in 1900 Pennsylvania Avenue, otherwise the White House, where the President of the United States has been tested for COVID every single day for a very long period of time. But it didn't protect him from catching the disease because the behaviours that he adopted and many around him were not safe behaviours. It's the behaviours that protect us. Testing is important because it's a component of understanding where the disease is going and how we can follow it as it passes from one person to another to cut off further sources of infection. So it is vital that we have a good testing system. I've read that there's blame being attached to software in England that was used for doing some of the statistics associated with this pandemic. Using 13-year-old Excel software was not intrinsically a problem. The software wasn't to blame for the difficulties that were being experienced in calculating the people who were tested positive. The problem was the lack of professionalism of people who use the software. It's like blaming a 4-seat car for being unable to carry 2 soccer teams to a match. The car was designed for 4 people to be carried. The 22 people in a soccer team are the normal thing. We can't blame the car, whether it's new or 20 years old. It's the person who decides to use that car in the way that they did. And so it is that the deficiency that has been attributed to software is actually a deficiency in the professionalism of the people who were using it. And I think, in a sense, that goes to the heart of who we have as our experts. With software, we need to have experts who understand about software. Now, I speak with a particular interest as a professional software engineer, not the only one in the Parliament. And indeed, I have software that I know that I wrote more than 40 years ago, which is still used every week millions of times. So age can actually bring maturity. And let me just go to that issue of age. I heard Richard Leonard say that we should have no restrictions until they've come to Parliament and been approved there. I absolutely say to Richard, I took my first driving test in the year in which he was born, and I don't want somebody to have to stop me stepping in front of the traffic that might be coming down the road. Christine Graham referred to that, by going to Parliament to get permission first. Grab me and then post hoc homologate the decision that's made. And that's the approach that we need to take with this pandemic as well. Now, I've used the word expert, and it's important that we do have all the experts that we require to hand and the statistics that they can gather and explain to us lay people who have to make the decisions. I don't envy the Cabinet Secretary for Health. I certainly don't envy the First Minister. I congratulate them on their fortitude in the face of a most impressive workload. I can't believe that it's possible for them to be doing anything than about 40 hours a day. It certainly looks that. But the expert is somebody who brings expertise to the problems that we have to meet. And they do so without bias and without taking a prior position. Now, we've heard quite a lot about the economy, and I agree, it is vital that we protect our economy, and that's why the money coming from the Scottish Government is very much to be welcomed. The hospitality sector has suffered in particular, and there are many, many small businesses that we need to be careful to support. But there are others, such as Tim Martin of Wetherspoons, who initially refused to pay his staff. He's worth about £500 million, and he stopped paying his suppliers. I don't want to be particularly supporting the Tim Wetherspoons of the month. I do want to support his employees, because that's very important. Presiding Officer, I'm delighted to see that we've got a broad consensus and will support all the amendments, bar the Labour one that is before us tonight. I very much welcome this debate. Presiding Officer.